Hey, what's up guy? Here's your next update on the engine. So last time I got the sandbox into a way better state. Reading placement was working properly, save and load was finally solid, and the whole thing was just starting to feel a lot cleaner. And then I said I was gonna work on the row system. So this is the whole phase that has been about. The big goal here was to take road from something that just looked connected on screen and turn them into the engine that can actually understand logically. Because before this, roads were working, but only to a certain level. I could place them, remove them, render them, save them, load them back, right? But visually, it looked like I had the roads. But under the hood, they were still mostly just tiles. The engine did not really understand them as a network yet. It couldn't reason about routes, it couldn't analyze connectivity, and it definitely couldn't move anything to the system in a meaningful way. So the first part of this update was really about building that foundation. I also cleaned up some of the control early on because right click was doing too many things at once. It was messing with the camera rotation and removal behavior, and it just felt really bad. So I fixed it by using the sandbox stop, feeling like I was fighting my own control every 2 seconds. After that, I moved into the actual road graph system. And this was probably one of the biggest upgrades in the whole phase. Instead of treating roads as just lay pieces on the map, I added a graph layer on top of them. So now the engine looks a lot like the road layout and turned meaningful points into graph node, like intersection, corner, dead end, and stuff like that, yeah? Then the straight road stretches between those points become edges. And that matters a lot, because once you have that, roads stop being just visual data. Now the engine can actually think about the network structurally. So once I had that graph working, I added BFS pathfinding on top of it. Since the road is basically unweighted right now, BFS was the cleanest way to prove that the routing worked. So now the engine can actually find a route to the road network instead of just knowing road exists. I also added connected component analysis, which helped a ton for debugging. Basically, it let me see whether I had one big connected road network or just a bunch of disconnected little islands. That made it way easier to tell whether something was broken or if the road was just generally not connected. And because I know I would go insane trying to debug all this blindly, I also made upgraded to the UI. So now I can see the road counts, graph node counts, and a bunch of stuff like that help the actual BFS path directly in the debug panel. That was a huge quality of life improvement, not gonna lie. I also did another round of architecture cleanup because the application side was starting to get bloated again. We do not want this project turning into one giant file full of random systems jammed together. Then once the graph and BFF side were working, the next problem was becoming visualization. Because logically the path existed, the debug UI showed the graph was working, but the selected route in the world still looked bad. At first, I thought maybe the graph logic was wrong, or maybe the selected path system itself was bugged, but the actual real issue ended up being the rendering path. The shader and the cube debug rendering were making the route markers look weird and hard to read, so even though the logic was fine, visually it was broken. Once I tracked down and fixed it, the path became way cleaner on screen. After that, I made the start and end nodes manually selectable, so I could actually test specific route instead of just praying the default one to make sense. I also caught a fake edge bug where the graph looked connected when it really wasn't, so fixing that made the whole road network way more reliable. Then I cleaned up the path visual, so instead of looking like random debug cubes, it actually started reading like a real route overlay. Then I work on the following route agent to make sure my graph worked correctly. So thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time.